And now, your feature presentation.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cult Classic Podcast. Cameron Jones here, along with my co-host,
Mark Nussle.
Jordan Jones.
We're going to give you something a little newer for us. Also an animated film. We're going to give you
For the public. Newer for the public.
We're doing it for the people.
Relatively new.
We're going to give you the 2019 film, Klaus. When spoiled postmaster Jasper finally pushes his father too far, he is assigned to the remote village of Smeerensburg, where he must deliver 600 letters to keep his inheritance and be allowed to return home. When he arrives, he finds a violent town engaged in a brutal and long-standing feud. With the odds stacked against him, he devises a scheme to deliver presents to the town children with the help of a brooding woodsman named Klaus. Witness a new origin story of the beloved holiday traditions and characters in Klaus.
Directed by Sergio Pablos and Carlos Martínez López. Starring Jason Schwartzman, J.K. Simmons, Rashida Jones, Will Sasso, Nita Margaret Laba, Sergio Pablos, Norm MacDonald, and Joan Cusack.
It's a good new Christmas movie. Klaus.
Cast and crew. All right. This is directed by... It's a Netflix original, right? Or it went straight to Netflix? Netflix produced it, or however that works?
It did get a theatrical release. We'll talk about later,
Okay.
but it was brief just for awards.
So this is co-directed by Sergio Pablos and Carlos Martínez López. And these guys are both really kind of integrated in the character design animation world.
Okay.
You'll recognize Sergio Pablos' work from... he did character design on Tarzan, specifically Tantor, Hercules, animator for Hades, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Frollo. Rio did a lot of character design on that, so he just is
not just a Disney man. He's been all over the animation world.
All over the
I will just say though, you can kind of see in the character design the angles, the sharp chins and flat, the noses. It looks very Hercules.
Noses,
it looks very Tarzan.
He's
got a distinct
Hercules,
look.
Yeah, those sharp chins. No, that's for sure. And then Carlos Martínez López also he co-directed this and was kind of integrated in the visual design, visual effects world. Did Planet 51. Did you guys ever see that?
No. I came to the theater when I worked there, but I don't remember it.
Oh, yeah, 2009, that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
We're the alien, right? Where we land on Mars? That's the deal?
Something like that.
Planet
Yeah,
51?
it looks like it from the cover.
I like it.
art.
I like it conceptually.
Music by Alfonso G. Aguilar. He composed Santiago of the Seas. There's you go through all this list and it's all like Spanish influenced, it looks like. On to the cast. Jason Schwartzman plays Jasper.
From us, you would know him from Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Go back and see that episode. Rushmore, Moonrise Kingdom. I mean, he's done a lot with...
He's a Wes Anderson guy.
Fantastic Mr. Fox is another vocal work he did.
We haven't done a Wes Anderson movie yet, right?
I don't think so.
I don't believe so.
I don't think so. We probably will someday, maybe. I don't know.
J.K. Simmons plays Klaus.
Got his notoriety kind of more recently with Whiplash. I mean, Spider-Man.
I feel like he exploded by
Maguire.
Whiplash for sure. Yeah,
I've seen that movie like 5 times. That's so good. I love that movie.
It's a good movie.
Spider-Man.
Tense.
He's like the whatever editor.
Jameson.
Chief. Rashida Jones plays Alva.
Parks and Rec, obviously. Did anyone watch her Tribeca show? She had like a standalone show for a second.
I watched it a little bit of it. It was essentially like a spoof, like Hot Shots, Airplane, the Naked Gun series, but an entire TV show of it.
Yeah, I don't
it
think
was
that can
funny,
carry.
but it's a lot. It's a lot,
I get it.
I think it was produced by Steve Carell and his wife, and I know that because they were in it a decent amount.
Would have been better as like a movie, you think? Just as like a one-off?
Well, of course, yeah. This is my argument why movies are in sometimes, a better example. All the jokes are funny. It's like, it's just a lot, you know what I mean?
Yeah, especially if it's like Airplane, where it's like one after another, and then to do it for 10 episodes or whatever it is.
And that's exactly what I was. Yeah. I mean, funny enough, though.
Will Sasso plays Mr. Ellingbo.
He was in the Three Stooges remake, Happy Gilmore. He's one of the moving guys, isn't he?
Best in Show.
I think he's...
Did we do Best in Show?
I don't believe so.
We've just done Guffman from that world, right? Oh, and Spinal Tap. Guffman's Spinal Tap.
He pops up in a million things, though. He's been on a lot of TV.
Did you know this about Will Sasso? Sum 41 Still Waiting music video producer.
Oh,
yep, you'll see him in
stunning.
There. He's like, we're going to need you to be the Sums. Everything's popular now. The Kills. The whatever.
Oh, yeah, right.
The whatever.
That's the manager at the beginning.
And he was a, what's not SNL? What's the other show?
Mad TV.
Mad TV.
He was a Mad TV guy, right? That's probably where he started. Got start.
Nita Margaret
It's crazy.
Lava.
Nobody watched Mad TV, but so many talented people came from there. It's just nobody watched the show. And when I say nobody, I mean me. Probably you two. And nobody else.
Nita Margaret Laba plays Margu. Can't say I know her from much.
She was an actual indigenous girl that they got that didn't speak English, actually. They actually had someone they just sent someone out to get all of her voice work with like a translator.
The actor plays Pumpkin and Olaf, the two big broods from each rival family. So fun little voice cameo from the director there. Norm Macdonald plays Mogans.
You, of course, know him from SNL.
His comedian's favorite comedian.
This was actually his last movie, his last project. His last full motion picture.
I thought it had to be Close, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the last one. Yeah, that makes sense. R.I.P. Joan Cusack plays Mrs. Crumb.
Go back and see our School of Rock episode, voice in Toy Story. What else we got here? Shameless, In and Out, if you want to go back to a 90s movie.
Yeah, I'm surprised she's not in more like vocal works. Just she's got such a unique sort of
but almost and I was going to maybe too distinct? You're like
I think you mean distinct? Annoying.
No. I mean, I think we all mean annoying, but a little jumps off, you know. I'm like, when I was watching it, either that's a Joan Cusack or we're going for a Joan Cusack type right now because it's really popping off the screen.
And then there's just a slew of other kids' voices and extras and Ellingbo girls and boys. So
yeah, we don't need to go
that's the main cast and crew right there.
With that, should we move it on to Unverified? Welcome to the Cult Classic Movie Phone. It's December 8th, 2019, and currently in theaters you could have seen Our Friend with Dakota Johnson, Casey Affleck, and Jason Segel.
This is going to be interesting because I don't know if we don't really do anything past 2019, right?
Some of these
we're going to hear a lot of.
It's going to get to streaming options.
Outside of this one, our most recent is definitely Knives Out, right? But that's when people still were seeing movies in the theater.
True.
Yep.
And probably John Wick. Those are our most recent ones, I would assume.
Yeah. Richard Jewell, that movie about the security guard that finds the pipe bomb.
I saw it. 96 Olympics. It's good. I like that guy. Weird movie. You know, why do we need it? We
don't. Meant to see it. Didn't get to
it. We saw it. In theaters? No.
Dark.
On an airplane?
Sure.
Yes. Weird. Yeah. Bombing. I mean, it's tough.
Dark Waters with Mark Ruffalo, Anne Hathaway, and Tim Robbins.
Didn't see
Don't remember that one.
Not ringing a bell.
Grand Isle with Nicolas Cage.
Not
Do you know what you're going to find, though? Turns out Nicolas Cage has made a bunch of movies since the whole tax evasion thing.
Because he owes money, right?
He's made so many movies.
Yeah.
A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood with Tom Hanks.
Oh, no, I saw the documentary.
I didn't get around to this one. Frozen 2 with Idina Menzel and Kristen Bell.
Yeah, I saw that.
Is Tom Hanks in the Disney one, the Walt one too, or who am I thinking of in that one?
Yep, Saving Mr. Banks. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's him. He plays a very Tom Hanks style of Walt Disney. Real Tom Hanks.
I can imagine
with a mustache.
The Courier with Gary Oldman, Olga Kurylenko. It's an action movie.
Sure.
The Charlie's Angels reboot with Kristen Stewart, Naomi Scott, and Ella Balinska.
Missed that one as well.
Didn't even know that happened. The Good Liar with Helen Mirren and Ian McKellen.
Had a chance. Didn't
I thought
see
I was
it.
going to recognize a lot more of these.
Well, not too. There were a few more, but that's where I ended.
And here's the crux of it: the movie theaters disappeared, unfortunately.
True.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
The movie,
but you
the
chose
movie-going experience.
Klaus.
And when you say you chose it on streaming,
Yeah, I might as well just go to that quick. They had problems shopping it around initially, and Netflix is the one that picked it up. But in order to get Oscar nominations, they had a short 2-week release in just select theaters. So you probably didn't see it in theaters unless
Are
you
you
were
saying like in order to get Oscar noms? Did they get Oscar noms?
Yeah, they actually were up for Oscars.
Oh, they did. Nice.
I have it written down
Probably
somewhere.
for animation. I would imagine, like in that area.
and I bet this will switch someday, but who knows? Who knows? To be considered for an Oscar, I think you need to have a 2-week theatrical run. It doesn't have to be wide release. I'm sure it just has to be limited and show in so many theaters.
Yep.
And for that reason, this is, I think, the first one. I don't have a box office for this. I just have the budget for you. Would you like to take a guess?
I'm going to stay out because I had just skimmed by it a second ago.
I'm going to be way off here. 120 mil.
40 million. 40 million.
Whoa.
Which is pretty cheap for an animated film.
Yeah, but if you think about it, the cast is pretty deep. And, it's a feature-length film. But, yeah, 40 million. Don't have a box office return. I'm sure the numbers are out there. I just don't have them. If you're listening at home, let us know.
If you want a little more information on the Oscar thing, it was one of 10 films from Netflix's 2019 slate that was given a theatrical run for it specifically to qualify for the Oscars. It played for a week in select theaters before going straight to streaming. It proved successful. It joined, here are the other ones, The Marriage Story, The Irishman.
Yep.
The
Irishman is the one I was going to guess.
The Two Popes, American Factory, The Edge of Democracy.
Jordan, you had all those.
And,
yeah, you're gonna list those.
The last one, I Lost My Body, is actually an animated film Nicole and I have been meaning to get to. It looks really pretty. Looks arty. Looks cool.
I've seen Marriage Story, The Irishman, and this.
I've actually seen none of them. The Irishman was too long for me to want to start, and Marriage Story was too sad for me to want to start.
That's acting, baby.
Yeah, I know.
That's theater.
We all saw that argument clip from Adam Driver and
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, we all saw that on Twitter. We didn't need to see any more than that.
I watched that movie twice, I think, just because it was on.
Yeah.
But you guys got to remember, nothing was coming out in 2020. You know what I mean? Like anything relatively new. I was watching it.
Oh, Cameron, I think you mentioned this either before or off air, but director Sergio Pablos wanted to do a traditionally animated feature film, but he wanted to see how the animation would have evolved without the switch to CGI. So he used CGI lighting techniques with hand-drawn animation to create sort of a unique animation style.
And it is unique.
We'd really like this to pop. Yeah,
if you look at some Netflix specials right now, in fact, a series I'm watching with Nicole kind of looks like the same thing. I feel like they have adopted it to other animation projects since then for their own look, but it's cool. I like it.
But it must be the lighting that kind of adds sort of that element of
3D.
3D when it's not. Yeah, it's cool though. I like it.
We talked about this in casting, but Nita Marguerite Laba, who plays the Sami girl Margot, did not speak any English, and Sergio Pablo traveled all the way to Norway where she lived and did her whole recording session through translation and mimicry.
We talked just some short ones in development for nearly 10 years. Norm Macdonald's final feature film. J.K. Simmons once worked as a mall Santa as he was pursuing his acting career outside of his academia.
We talked about this, but the reason it didn't go straight to theaters is because it was perceived too risky by various film studios, and it wasn't until Netflix acquired it in 2017, but they couldn't get a buyer.
I think the problem with this is because they know it's going to Netflix, they don't spend any marketing on it. Did you know this movie came out?
No.
None of us did.
Not until it popped up on stuff last year, and someone recommended it. I think Chris. You'll find this a lot with comedic actors, but Jason, not that he's necessarily a comedian, but Jason Schwartzman ad-libbed up to 40% of his dialogue from the final script.
And I think that added a lot to this movie, which I want to get into discussions. That's a pro for it, and it reminds you of some movies that I'll bring up.
Who did that? That was Jasper.
Yep. I got a fact
sense
for you. It wasn't until I started doing research on this I realized his name was Jasper and not Jasper, being just said weird.
And I'll get ahead of this now.
Each character says
sorry
it
for
differently,
calling
I'm
him
pretty
Jasper
sure.
the entire time. I apologize because didn't know that until just now.
I wonder how this translates into sales, because like just being in the music industry, like a Taylor Swift album who gets like billions of plays from Spotify will get like whatever $3,000 because they totally bone you. Netflix reported that the film was viewed by nearly 30 million in its first month on the platform. I just wonder how that translates with streams.
I don't think I don't think it does.
Probably not lucrative.
I think it's just it's a purchase up front. I don't think you get any.
Yeah. Which is insane.
Any pay for play.
So that's what you always hear about comedians complain about. They put out this special, they get a flat rate, and then they ask Netflix how their special's doing, and Netflix doesn't tell them anything or give them any metrics. So I suppose the only thing you can do is be like, nowadays I was in the top 10 on Netflix's to watch for however many weeks, right? But I guess like before you sold it to whoever you sold it to, so I don't think that's changed in there. It's just they don't know how it's being viewed. But if it's in the top 10 of Netflix like for a month or week, I assume that's millions and millions and millions and millions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily if you sell it off right. I think it's more so of like buying power on your next.
No. I don't think the upfront, unless you're like, Chris Rock or Jerry Seinfeld or Dave Chappelle, I don't think you're getting millions of dollars. I'm saying the views alone pay for themselves and ticket sales or your next special or something. So it's just the exposure.
I got a reindeer. Good.
Sorry, no, it just launched them to like another level where they can now they can tour and they can do whatever.
Yep.
Sorry, can we go?
Got a reindeer fact for you. Want to hear a reindeer fact?
I love reindeer facts as of late.
When the movie was first in storyboards, the reindeer were drawn eating berries, but through research, the team realized the berries are actually poisonous to reindeer. So it was changed to reindeer eating clumps of moss. That's what reindeer eat. Clumps of moss.
More accurate.
It's like dogs eating grapes on film. Can't do
Just
it.
found that out a couple years ago.
Can't do it.
So what can dogs eat? It seems like I hear more and more what they can.
Yeah, it turns out TV lied to us. Not anything off your plate.
Just kibbles and bits? What's that made out of?
A little kibble, a little bit.
Fish, chicken.
A
little bit of kibble, a little bit of bit.
Protein.
Yeah.
After they crash the sleigh, you can briefly see an A113, A113 on the crate that falls off the back. This is a reference to the classroom used by the graphic design and character animation students at the California Institute of Arts, and is an Easter egg commonly featured in Pixar movies.
Yeah, I love an Easter egg.
Little Easter
We're
eggs.
in on it, I like though back in the day they were all like, yeah, do you see sex in this? Does that
See sex in the sky? Just take off your clothes and add. Aladdin.
We've all looked and we've never seen sex in the sky, but we've all heard take off your clothes and we've seen the priest boner.
We're talking.
Well, you know what we're talking
the
about.
priest boner is so.
What we're
That's
talking
blatant.
about.
That's blatant.
It's a small boner. Last thing I have is the fictional town of Smeerensburg. I like to add a little bit of SH to my Smeerensburg.
Sure.
That's
fine.
was based
I'll
on
definitely
Smeerenburg. Just the same Smeerenburg, an actual town existing in Norway. It used to be a prosperous whaling post during the 17th century.
Hence the big whale skeleton hanging from it.
Anytime I hear Berg, I'm like Nuremberg, and it's just bad in Germany. Yeah, nothing good. What? We weren't all there? No, nothing bad, nothing good, nothing bad, nothing good. Hateful town that Smeerenburg.
Well, they were. That's
it
true.
Definitely seems like if we went a little bit further in their history, it's not all origin stories of Santa Claus, but it's just not good stuff. All right.
Well, with that, should we move it on to questions?
He's a professional. Comments.
And animosities.
Questions, comments, animosity.
QCA. Just comment. Pretty recent Santa origin story. We're still coming out with him. That's nice.
I'm glad. This is one of the newer movies we've done on the podcast, right? In the last 5 years for sure. But on top of that, this is one of the newer Christmas movies that we'll probably talk about for a while. And I like one that people are still making Christmas movies and that we have the chance to add on, new ones to our classics. Because I would think, and agree or disagree, most of the ones we watch are very old. And anything new I would consider in the last 15 years. You know what I mean?
I mean, the Santa Claus was the most new. Yeah, Elf, Santa Claus are kind of the
Elf's
newest.
turning 20 years old this year. So to have new pokes at it I like it.
I'll watch this next year and the years to come. No?
Yeah, and I'll agree. Jordan,
yeah, it's in the mix now.
Maybe you pushed it on me, but Arthur Christmas, it's up there with that with me now. It's a good one.
Yeah, but even Arthur Christmas is probably 10 years old. You know what I mean?
True.
Cameron, I get your point, though, that it's not just that Santa exists. It's sort of this story about how these presents are delivered and how, like, the story sort of in, what do you call that? The operation or operator, how, like, stories just pass down from even cultures to culture.
Telephone. You know what, though? I think this is all propaganda by a big postal service, because the postal service in this movie is prominent. And are they connected to the military in some way that I don't know about?
Well, I did jot this down. I love tycoons. I love them. It's like, what do you do? It's like, I own the postal service. This is the type of shit that happens in, like, dictatorships.
I love it.
What's your family? And it's like, oh, the postal service. And what do you guys do? This is when they're at their rich places. It's like, oh, we deal in, I don't know.
I guess there's no family I'd rather be in less than, like, the postal family.
You could be in the real army. It seems like if your dad was a general, if he's that serious for a postal general.
I mean, up until Jasper's dad put down, his foot, seemed pretty chill.
Seemed like a good life.
All right. Not too bad for Jasper.
Emperor's New Groove vibes from it.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah.
I wrote down
They almost copied the exact, like, lexicon of that, of the big brooding character, and then the aloof Jason Schwartzman. Mm-hmm. It is very much, I recognize it right away.
If you're wondering if that trickled down to my recasting, you're just going to have to wait and see. It had very Road to El Dorado, or whatever the hell that one was called. Just, kind of your secondary. It had those two feels to me. And I think you guys alluded to, is this a Leica movie? It's not, right?
No.
But would you like to see it? Now, I know you guys went on about, the
animation.
We like the animation, the style. How would you feel if it was stop motion? I kind of think I would enjoy it more.
I think I would too, but here's why I prefer it how it is that it does remind me of those older sort of early 2000s, even like Hercules back then with the 2D. It feels older than it is, right? A little bit.
Yeah, it gives a nod to like what we grew up on, and I agree that that's cool. But the only reason I bring up the stop motion is it may give me a little bit more holiday feel.
Like your old classic special, Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yeah, but I could see it either way.
That's a good point.
I don't know. I like the new thing they created, kind of, and I think with the lighting effect, it kind of gives a little bit of that that 3D stop motion effect to it. So I don't know. I feel like it's a good marriage between the worlds.
Agreed.
Also, it makes me like, happy that 2D animators, exist and they get jobs.
True.
I mean, it's like few and far between for
Beyond
sure.
Storyboarding.
Yeah, lots of storyboard artists out there.
So why is Jasper's dad? Why even trust Jasper with this job in Smeerensburg?
Well, from what the guard says, it sounds like he doesn't. It just sounds like he's just giving him a reality call, scared straight.
Sure, scared straight.
Yeah. So I don't think he didn't expect him to succeed whatsoever. I think just wanted to toughen him up.
I'm punishing you to an awful place.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And whether you succeed or fail, you'll come back home changed.
True.
Whether that be good or bad.
We've gotten our answer from Unverified, but where is this magical, beautiful place? They don't exactly say. They kind of show the map, and now we know that Smeerensburg is based on something, and we do have the Sami people, but the beginning postal service, beautiful. When they clean Smeerensburg up, it's beautiful. Norway.
But before it seemed like a war-torn land that they didn't need a postman. They needed some sort of like vigilante or like maybe just police.
Mark, I think a lot of that was fog and
maybe just
smog.
a keeper of the peace.
As soon as that cleared up, the town looked beautiful.
Yeah, it was the smog, wasn't it? Yeah, once he cleared that up, I don't know how he did that, but
the weapons, I guess, also in the buildings, or that was a big part of it.
So this was my first time watching it, and I didn't exactly know what to expect. So I assumed Klaus, the woodsman, would be our main character the whole time. So even the origin story of Jasper and the whole plot of the movie surprised me.
I'm going to catch it early. It's Jasper. I'm going to catch it early.
Jasper, sorry.
I actually agree with you, though. The first time I watched it, because it was highly recommended to me by somebody last year, and I was like, where's the Santa in this? I was so confused about the start.
Jasper, the friendly post.
Yeah. Take it. Yeah, that's a good. I like that. Let me see if I can come up with one. I cannot.
Smeerensburg doesn't have currency, do they? They're not honoring any sort of
the teacher was saving some sort of
coins or
fish.
Something.
Oh, doubloons.
Remember, she had her
in the fish mouth. She had her little savings.
Yeah. Okay. Penny.
I'm telling you what. This just so I don't forget about it because I don't know if we'll get back to the teaching. Mm-hmm. Those kids are geniuses. They learned to write within a week.
Well, we don't know how long. Do we know it was a week?
Within a year.
Month?
I don't know how long it was, but it seemed like within a week they went from "teach us, please."
Jordan, they're hungry for knowledge.
Hungry for knowledge. For some sort of gefilte fish or whatever she's filleting. Not super appropriate that she's just filleting some sort of rancid fish in front of the class.
No, but I think those Nordic cultures are kind of more into your rotting fishes, so it's maybe not too far off. Yeah. But back to that question, kind of on the money, though. I feel what time period are we dealing with exactly? I was a little confused by that. It seems like we're a little more.
We're somewhere between 1846 and 1903.
It's a very late Santa origin story. That's kind of what I wanted to bring up, though. It seems like it should be a little earlier, maybe. I don't know.
There's no time or place. And to your point, though, to your question, I was checking off. Oh, here's our elves. Oh, here's how we get the sleigh. So what's it?
Smeerensburg is behind the 8 ball a little bit. I mean, Germany's doing Santa Claus and Tannenbaum. They already have all these things going on. But
but you know where there's going to be a mixing into that Venn diagram. It's going to be around 1937. They're going to equal. They're going to get to the same point if you ask me. No, it's the North Pole, right? We're led to believe that it's the North Pole, even though it's not directly the North Pole.
Yeah, it's up there. We're high north, yeah. Which on Jordan's other point here, I do want to bring up. I do like just like the dark kind of adult humor. That girl with the carrot. The first time she started stabbing that in the snowman, it got me to laugh hysterically just because I didn't see it coming out of this Christmas movie.
Well, that's what surprised me. Times at that same sort of reoccurring joke.
And like the people like carrying the body in the carpet, just the shh as she goes into the darkness.
Honestly, this is my first viewing, and I didn't know it was Jason Schwartzman as the Jasper character, right? I didn't know it was J.K. Simmons. I didn't know it was any of these people. So much like Emperor's New Groove, there's a lot of under the breath, very funny humor that is adult-like, but I think that's what made the movie more enjoyable on top of the Christmas origin story.
I agree.
With the voices, though, like, if you listen, obviously Joan Cusack is an obvious one. If you listen closely, you get the Rashida Jones, you get the Jason Schwartzman, but they put either some little effect on Klaus's voice where I didn't get a lot of J.K. Simmons, and I didn't get a lot of Will Sasso either.
I didn't get any Sasso.
No, really, honestly, apart from Jason Schwartzman and Joan Cusack, and obviously Norm Macdonald, I couldn't really tell who any of the other voices were until I looked it up.
I like that Norm Macdonald.
It's just Norm Macdonald.
Yeah. It added to the character. Sure, it added to the character actually quite a bit for me.
So Jasper, the friendly post, he's trying to deliver as many letters as he can, right?
600.
Why when the map folds over and he sees that there's one last place, why just keep delivering in town? I don't think the woodsman needs to receive any sort of mail, any sort of post.
It's desperation, but I mean, Norm Macdonald by that point had already...
at that point turning good, though?
No. This is the start of the scheme. I mean, and at that point, Norm Macdonald had already hoodwinked him before. So when he's like, "Go up there, check out the woodsman," like seems like it's an obvious setup. So I mean,
I got a question.
It doesn't make sense.
Couldn't he just lie? What are we reporting here? And like, what are we? How are we making currency?
The people of Smeerensburg seem shitty enough that they're not going to report back to anyone.
Well, here's also my question, because it kind of almost seemed like we were counting the letters that Norm Macdonald was taking by boat off land. But they're all sending letters to each other in town.
Yeah, it's all internal.
Klaus, so like there wouldn't be. I mean, I guess he's sending the money to the post. Like he's sending that forward. I guess.
So be just by the fact, So there must be some type of monetary transaction.
Don't forget your penny. Remember.
Don't forget your penny.
They're all coming from. They're all coming from the children, right? There's no adult communique for quite some time.
That's why I said the currency thing. It just seems like a lot of pennies and fish heads.
Fish heads are the currency.
Yeah.
What's that awful fish? The worst gefilte fish is like lutefisk. Whatever. It's that's it.
Or herring.
That's what they're. Yeah. Lutefisk is gelatinous though. Those guys are eating a lot of gelatinous fish.
The woodsman kind of reminds me of.
This is Klaus himself, the main guy.
The Klaus.
Santa.
The salt slinger in Home Alone. He's got a nice heart. He doesn't have to be so he doesn't have to be so mean, especially when he's not trying to come across.
Mark,
as so
his heart's
mean.
broken.
His heart's broken. Yeah,
but also,
same with the salt slinger.
I would say for a backwoodsman, without Seven Brothers, he's doing pretty good for himself with all that isolation.
Yeah. He has a pretty nice property.
How is he that big?
He's not too crazy, too violent. He started that big. We saw it in the flashback.
And what do his shits look like?
Whatever,
I mean, that's a big boy.
Whatever digested lutefisk looks like in reindeer.
Yeah, that's exactly.
That's what his shits look like. Probably bears. Yeah, whatever's
with
out
a diet
there.
full of moss, not berries. Moss.
So we talked about his father was sending him to change him one way or another, but I'm going to argue.
Hey, did you quick question?
Yeah.
Did you kind of like the dad? I was in on him. I thought he was fair-minded and an okay guy. Kind of funny, too.
Yeah, even heartwarming at the end where he's like, I have to do it's for his own good. I'm not being a dick. It's heartwarming.
That's all I said. We don't have a recasting, but I am pretty sure the descendants of him is the guy in Titanic that pushes the captain to drive his boat so fast.
We must go faster. We must
I was going to say, I think
that's somewhere down the line.
It was going to be a question. Do you think his dad's just like actually sending him to die? Because that cabin is open to the elements. You can't survive in that.
No, I assume the dad's getting communication.
He already has a new family when Jasper gets back, and he's like, "Oh,
he's got a new
Jasper." I think in these animations, the bigger the chin, the bigger the nose, the sterner the man. It seems.
Yeah, he's a stern man. I actually think the dad's a little warm in there. He's doing what he thinks is right. He's not sending him to die because I think that the Norm Macdonald character is probably keeping tabs on him.
You think?
Yeah, he gave him like a barrel of whiskey or something. He's like, you tell me about my son's doings. Whatever the tycoons do.
I think he's just tracking the invoices coming in from Smeerensburg.
He could be that cold-hearted, but he really comes around towards the end, and I quite enjoy it.
Just another kind of adult scene. I like the child exploitation scene with like the drug dealing montage where he's like opening his coat and going around. I don't know.
My favorite part's the child exploitation part.
It's just a funny montage of like selling drugs in a kids movie.
Well, I wonder what the theatrical release rating was. Probably PG-13 or PG? Just probably PG.
Yeah, PG.
I think it's PG.
I have an animosity, and this is like some of the ways I feel about some Leica films. Mm-hmm. The townsfolk, the feuding sides, I really don't like the way they look, the bad people. I know we're not supposed to, but they still gross me out, and I don't enjoy it. Especially when we see that one really skeleton-looking guy's foot. Animosity. Don't enjoy it. You
get thins and you get bigs. Don't you?
That's it. You get Tim Burton as
skeletons and bigs. That's it. Yeah.
Which I think this also gives us your claymation feel. They're very Tim Burton-esque and very thin or like oddly round and shouldn't be able to balance either way.
There were some shit. Yeah, one of the main bad guys on
Crumb and something Bow.
Yes, Ellingbow maybe. Yep. That wasn't the dad. Either way, he looked like the mayor from Nightmare Before Christmas with a big, tall top hat. Mm-hmm. And
I got that vibe.
And the Paranorman, lots of those characters. That's why it feels like a Leica film. They all have very similar, angular, skinny Skeletor designs.
I got a bit of an animal.
But just one thing. What do you think about Klaus? Jasper looks very different from a design point from everybody else in the film. Very round nose. Very soft features, nothing angular really about him. I like it, I guess?
Yeah, I think they were going for that, it seems. I think I have a bit of an animosity. I feel like this postman, though maybe not as pure as heart, he put in a lot of work also delivering presents. How does Jasper not get any sainthood out of this? Like, Klaus
did all of Klaus's dirty work.
Yeah, again, Klaus wasn't exactly like a warm, loving person until Jasper got him out of his shell again.
Was Jasper scared of Klaus, and that's why he sort of felt like he had to.
Well, that's definitely how we got roped into it, but into initially, delivering. I'm just saying, how is Jasper not getting sainthood out of this? He did a lot of the work. Granted, it was for devious reasons, but
well, here's the answer, right? Mm-hmm. Because his wife wasn't dead and he didn't drag him into the afterworld.
Okay.
I have lots of questions about that. So the origin story is Klaus passes away, crosses over, but becomes the actual Santa Claus? That's a question I have.
Yes. That their tradition just got picked up, and then he does
he does it everywhere. And prior to that,
yeah,
when they're actually delivering and they
no, I don't think he does it everywhere. I think sorry.
No, so okay. In the film, there's about a 12-year period after this before Klaus dies, right? And goes with his wife, which I'll be honest, super sad, super touching. He's like, I'm ready, honey. I'm like, oh, geez, man.
It was coming.
I didn't know he was about to become Santa Claus. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he hasn't taken care of that toe for probably 40 years since his wife died. He's been too busy making presents ever since. Prior to that, though, they just had a pretty local outreach, right? Surrounding country or so at most. After that, he became Santa Claus. That's what we're led to believe.
Yeah, that's what I'm picking up from that.
I'm picking up that he's like, and I don't know how it happened that this spread so far. I think it's then that's sort of how then the parents do it at night, and they leave out the cookies and you know what I mean. That's sort of how the rumor travels.
But it became worldwide, right?
Yes, I believe so.
No, he's magical and he does it everywhere now. He became a saint. Now he's Santa.
I don't believe that to be true.
He says that at the end. I get to see my friend.
I saw that happen. The real question I have is he dead?
He gets to see his friend because like the magic of it all happens every year. That's what I got. Like,
I assumed he became Santa Claus, but I didn't know if he was a ghost or not.
Yeah, I wouldn't say ghost, but he's just Santa. And
I don't.
What would you say he is then? Spirit? Because that's just a fancy way to say
it's ghost. The spirit of him that lives within everyone that now continues on this tradition.
And I'm in the fact that that's a ghost that's delivering presents. He's haunting people, and his wife's in on it too.
Less likely to me.
Would you guys have liked to seen a picture of Mrs. Klaus just to see?
We did in the flashback, do we not?
No, I thought we just got a carving. It's like, hey, we're gonna make a family. Here's our carving pick area. Origin story aside, do you actually get Christmas feels from this movie?
Yeah.
Towards the end, I do.
Yeah.
It doesn't start that way. And that's kind of a lot of these Christmas movies now. It's
slow build.
That's true. It's got to end with the feels.
I mean, the heavy hitters, your Home Alones, your Christmas Vacations, start out at Christmas, whatever, Christmas vibes, lights, presents, this and that. But like Gremlins, for instance. No, I'm not going to.
Gremlins starts with Christmas right away and then turns to hell.
But I think at the end it does. But to start with, I don't get too much Christmas.
And I think I had a miss. I set up a different expectations because I didn't know what the movie was about. That I thought we were going to get Christmas right away. And I watched it once, and then I rewatched it with my wife. I'm trying to use her name less, even though I've used it a million times before. I watched it with her, and the second time around, watching it with her, I'm like, oh, I get it more this time with my expectations set correctly.
Yeah, I would get that. Again, because you don't exactly know where it's going from the beginning. First timer. Just comment, based off like his success initially with selling those presents and the amount of presents in Klaus's house, I think he could get that like 600 easy, like in a month. Doesn't seem like that hard of a challenge when his scheme actually gets going.
Jeez, I don't know. There's only probably like 30 people in the town.
Then a month.
I mean, it's multiple. I mean, the whole town turned around, so I imagine it was some longer period of time. Kids are learning.
In my mind, I thought it was like a couple months.
But there's only 30 people in the town, right?
That's true. But
he should have done like sort of like a Frank Abagnale thing, sort of send mail to himself, kind of,
a scheme.
Get the 600 out of the way.
Boom, get it out, and then what? He just goes
that's
home.
Essentially,
and then
what the townspeople did for him to get him out of there.
That's true.
It did. Was that considered a scam, or was he doing the right thing? Just any mail is good mail. Stamps are stamps.
It was a scam, and he was using the children.
He found love.
But it works. Yeah, that totally works as mail. It was mail. They had the penny. They paid for postage. Initially, when you were getting that like flashback when Klaus is starting to kind of explain his wife and his past, did we think there was going to be death coming instead of just we couldn't have kids? I thought it was going to be like my family was slaughtered.
Oh, I didn't see either way it went. She lived for a long time too, right? She just died.
Yeah, it seems like they had a longish life together. Yeah.
Do you think they knew how to have kids, or it was more just like fertility problem?
I would guess fertility problems, but
okay, that didn't come up in the
last
flashback.
15 minutes were very emotional. Like that's where it kind of like
sad.
they tied things up, and it was I thought it was sad, but then it was happy and it was artsy and it was a very good ending, I thought.
I really didn't know where it was going, so I'm like, oh, bummer, Klaus is dead, and I guess Jasper's going to be Santa. I just assumed the whole time Jasper was still going to be Santa. I didn't give up on that until the much controversial ending happened. When he got
apparently there's a ghost that delivers presents now everywhere around the world, yeah.
Yeah, Santa. It's Santa Claus. He's a magical saint. I'll tell you what, once again, the people are just going into my woodworking dream right now. God, I want to carve something again.
You don't got enough sadness, Cameron.
No, or
You
tools.
just don't
It's
have enough
mostly
sadness.
tools
It takes a certain amount of sadness, doesn't it?
to do it right.
Yeah.
To do it right.
Paying, loss. That's what you need. I
And
mean,
some
you could
cedar.
whittle. You need a lot of woods. The wood's a problem too. Oh, I do have a real question. We've got the indigenous little girl. We make the ship for her. Very awesome. Very cool.
Best gift that
you
they
think-
make, yeah.
How's she
for
steering
sure.
that fucking thing? She's going fast around that shit. Man.
You just like Klaus's wife.
Dead?
Yeah, she's dead, right?
wind.
She's the wind, right? She's the wind, right?
For Klaus.
For Klaus and everywhere else. It's just like, lets her go where you need to go. What I was saying is, though, I thought that the elves would just be a bunch of little kids like her. I didn't assume we'd get adults in there.
How does
that surprised me.
she understand English?
She doesn't. She just knows there's presents, and I don't know how the teacher understands her language, to be honest.
I think the biggest question is, how does she get to that village and back by herself? Because we saw Klaus and Jasper go, and it seemed like a treacherous trek, and she didn't have her sled yet. Who's watching that kid?
Also, like with a really long boat ride, right?
Good point.
Yeah, it seemed like a very long journey, and she's there late at night. She's there early sometimes.
I got no answers for her. I got more questions than answers with that whole group.
Those Sammy folk, I tell you.
Is that what they're called?
Nice people.
Yeah, builders, woodworkers.
Builders, elves.
They're elves, right?
It seems that's what they become.
Oh, did they get taken to the
Oh,
afterlife?
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready.
Oh, just a quick breeze of Klaus's wife. Sucks them up.
me.
Yeah,
For all of
it's like an
eternity.
Egyptian thing. All the workers just go with him. I'm
That
ready,
makes
and
sense.
we're taking them too.
Those weren't called workers, Cameron.
Oh, yeah. My people.
Yeah, they were slaves.
This is more on the what sort of made me laugh throughout the film is this happens in a lot of these Pixar, DreamWorks, Disney films, but there's always like something in the background, or it's like Jasper just being like drug around by like something, but it's just happening in the background with like something going on in the foreground. That always is that always gets me
present
to laugh.
delivering scene. I'm guessing one of those.
Yeah. Or like
For sure,
like,
reindeer scene.
it reminded me of like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, just like the Flintlock Wood, and there's just like shit going on in the background. I don't know. Shit like that always get me to laugh. I always take notes during the film that end up getting answers
Yeah, I have a lot
as
of
the
those.
film goes on. So like one of my animosity was like, well, like 40, 50 kids just aren't getting their toys now. As like the presents were falling off the sleigh as she was like tearing open the bag, and then we found out it was fake toys or like firewood that also was gonna. Someone's
I'm
gonna
glad
need
you
that
brought
firewood.
up that plot point because Klaus and Ava really let that go pretty far.
Pretty
to
far.
the point where we almost lost Jasper. Like, we'll give him a warning, give him a nod. I know they were angry with him.
Klaus is sitting there just with his arms crossed, just
If
ravining
he
down the
dies,
mountain. Yeah.
if he dies, he dies.
Well, it's a
Nice.
good thing that those fell off the mountain too, because they would have found out pretty quick when they were smashing the presents that, oh, this is a log. It's very heavy and hard, and I'm smashing it open.
You know what these animated movies, Frozen, this, and a lot of other ones depict? Mountain people just don't care about being on the cliff and dropping.
Well,
They don't care. They're like
You're people of
way
the mountain.
too comfortable
I mean,
with it.
You can't.
Horses don't either that are carrying these mountain
They
people.
care, but they've got a job to do. They don't know anything better. They're like, oh my god, we're gonna die for sure.
You know what this film was missing for me? It was some sort of
Ooh, a song, a little song.
no, there was a song. There was an original song.
Oh, during the like happy times, like we're coming together.
Happy
that?
time song.
Oh, I did actually jot this down as a note, and I'll get back to you. Did you notice this upbeat like modern day song that just stood out like a sore thumb?
Oh yes, it was when I think it was when I keep saying Jasper now, you son of a bitch.
There's no right or wrong answers, but I heard it's Jasper.
He proved one of the town's kids wrong and walked away, and he's like, it was like a hip hop postman song that I had never heard in my life.
Yeah, it's like when we found out he's always watching and there's a naughty list.
Yes, the naughty
rap
list
song right there, and it's like, hey, is this gonna keep happening?
That worked though, because you can just stick it in, and I don't know, it worked.
It just came out of nowhere because there was no indication that we were about to go there, and then
and we went there,
and then we did.
No, my point though, that what was missing was like an animal, like in a lot of these. In a lot of these animated movies, you have a reindeer, you have a snowman, you have a.
It's magical, but it's not overly.
It's not overly a kiddie movie,
or like just whimsical as far as like not talking animals, but like
it is a kid's
personification and.
It's true, but it's not kid-y. Does that make sense? Or I guess I'll specify this: it's not a Disney movie.
No, I mean there's bodies. There's the carrot girl.
Mark, where we kind of get them. It's not a sidekick. But where we get those more over-the-top childlike characters are those two giant...
The bigs.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That's where you jump out. And I got nothing but questions. Do they know they're the size of houses? Like, does everybody know that and we just accept it? Does anybody talk about it?
Who birthed those children?
Well, we know one of them did, the mom and the other one. But, like, what's going on there, right?
Well, we know one mom's no longer there, so, you know.
Well, we know what happened to her. She got split into a million pieces when...
I almost feel bad because it almost
or...
seemed like that one of the bigs. That's her only option.
Yeah, it's both of their options. I'm glad they found each other. There's no way they could be with anybody else, right? Yeah. If anybody ended up with them, like you'd have to call into their what do you call it? What's your motivating factors in this? Whatever.
Well, that's why Klaus...
Motivation. What's your motivation behind this? Why would you go with those two? Sorry.
I have similar questions with Hagrid's procreation as these people, Same thing.
Oh, Hagrid I can answer here, and please fast forward if you're a kid. He obviously only goes with prostitutes, right?
You'd assume.
Yeah. He's just a prostitute guy. He's in Nocturne Alley getting, his weird on.
Let us know some of your favorite parts of this movie, but we're going to move it on to recasting. Recasting. We're going to keep it pretty tight. Let's start with Mogan's in honor of Norm Macdonald. I kind of wanted to keep someone in SNL who had a similar vibe, maybe. I went Kevin Nealon.
Okay. Yep. A distinct voice, too. So there's an obvious one that I could pick, and I may save it for Jordan if I feel like you're going to pick like a chalky one. I'm not saying you are, but there is a chalky one available. I don't have a chalk. I don't know if I have a chalky one for this, but all mine are normally chalky. Is the post deliverer, right? He
he's the steamboat guy.
Steamboat guy. I want to do some with more dry pan delivery. Nate Bargatze.
Ooh.
And I don't know. It's definitely different, but I want to hear Nate Bargatze do some of these lines, just sort of deadpanned.
I'm kind of more aligned with you. I don't know who the chalky choice was, but I think mine's another stand-up comedian. I went Mark Norman because I feel like there's a lot of similarities in delivery between the two. So yes, chalk.
No. What I was thinking was like a Bill Murray.
Oh yeah. I didn't go like that route.
Yeah. That would have been. Yeah, that would still work.
Miss Crumb. I have two here. I'm just gonna throw out wild card Allison Janney.
Yeah, that'd work.
Of course.
10 Things I Hate About You. More respected things as of recent.
I have another short-haired blonde woman, Jane Lynch.
Oh, I have her as my number 2. Yeah. That works for me too.
Good.
So I went for Kristen Shaw. Okay. I don't know how to say her last name, but she's from Bob's Burger. I just want a distinct voice person that I
didn't write her down, but I thought of it. I think I've just tried to recast her too many times, but she does have the distinct voice.
A little annoying, whether or not you agree or disagree. So that's kind of the route I went.
Who's Frenchie from Greece?
Oh yeah. I don't have no idea.
I think you could leave it at that.
Frenchie from Greece.
Yeah.
So I think all of them can do it, and they have distinct voices, but like the character's evil, and they have their voice because like Joe Cusack,
True. Yep.
She's Okay, so I didn't know how that one went, but I kind of like the variety of that one.
Yeah.
Let's move on to her counterpart, Mr. Ellingbo. I mean, I feel like a throwaway is just like Danny DeVito because that's kind of the character archetype. I did.
It's my chalky pick of the week is Danny DeVito.
I actually kind of like mine. Mm-hmm. I got Colin Quinn jumping off the screen, being a real hateful guy.
I'll take it.
All right, that's the reaction I like.
Sorry, yeah, sure. I don't recognize the name.
Right. I'm just thinking of both him and Nate Bargatze. I'm just thinking of their strong accents in Smeerensburg.
Yeah, go full accent though. It's Colin Quinn here. He used to be on SNL. He's a stand-up comedian. He's redheaded. He does have a strong New York accent.
True,
yeah. But it's the tone of him which is hateful.
Also, it has to be a little stupid.
Yeah,
that's a big part of that character.
Yeah, I didn't have a good stupid aloof then.
Yeah, my backup was just Seth Rogen. Someone with just a dumb voice. Sorry, Seth Rogen.
Voice helps though here in this.
It's what it is.
Kicking you up a notch.
My character is a little less dumb. I'm a little more vindictive once I do Colin Quinn.
True. Alva, the love interest. I did Jennifer Aniston. Just swung for the fences.
Rashida Jones.
I'm thinking.
She's got it's not a unique voice, but you definitely could recognize her.
A noticeable voice, I guess.
I didn't even really notice it as Rashida Jones. In fact, it sounded like she was putting something on it, too, and getting into character, because it doesn't sound like
a little bit more, yeah. I had a tough time, actually, outside of Joan Cusack and Norm Macdonald. I wasn't in tune with who was talking.
I think you probably could do anybody in the SNL world with this one. I did Amy Poehler.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Fine with that.
Because it's so wide open and there's not much to the character as far as what the voice has to sound like. Yeah. I just picked somebody that's I would kind of like to listen to her do voice work. So I went Lizzie Kaplan.
Sure.
From that's why I made my choice. It could have been so many.
You just wanted her to get the bag.
Yeah. Give her some of that Netflix
paycheck.
money. Yeah, that's it. Cut her check. I like Lizzie Kaplan.
Just because Catch Me If You Can, but I also threw Amy Adams in here. I don't know.
Yeah, Amy Adams.
She does the voice work in Princess.
You could draw out of a hat for Alva, I think.
This is my big argument. Unless you have a super distinct voice, I am surprised that animated movies pays for the name.
Stars,
you know what I mean? When have you gone to an animated movie?
Rashida, that type of character where they're not really doing too much with it. I mean, if you get a Jim Carrey who's kind of putting some stuff on and really putting his all into it.
Yeah, a Kung Fu Panda, if you will. It's that's Jack Black. But outside of that, do you need anybody? I don't think so.
Not at that, no. Not at some of these characters.
It baffles me that they do it so much. But
you
anyway.
do it Klaus and you do it at Jasper, I think.
Yeah.
And so let's get into Klaus, Cameron.
Klaus throwing away John Goodman.
Jinx. Mark?
He's second on my list, and I knew I wanted him number one, but I did Rip Torn. He is Zeus from Hercules.
Yeah, I'm fine with Rip Torn. I had Jeff Bridges down, but I do him all the time. So
we do him all the time. James Earl Jones is on there, just some sort of booming low voice.
I'll tell you a weird one I kind of thought. Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
But again, this isn't very J.K. Simmons to start with. So if they add just a little bit of that low end or do a little bit of effect, which I think they did to J.K. Simmons, it could have been Gerard.
Would you do Gerard with an American accent or let him just roll? Because I think with an American accent, you can't do.
I think just roll.
You can't do it with an American accent because then it'd just be wooden and bad.
We already have Nate Bargatze at the ferry. We have Colin Quinn as the other mayor. It's a confusing place of accents.
It's not Mr. Claus. It's Mr. Klaus. Let him experiment.
Get Will Ferrell in there and let him be weird with his accent. Get it way wrong, but 100%. Give it everything he's got. I'll move it on to Jasper. And I'm going to say it first, in case you were thinking it. I did do David Spade. And yes, it was because of...
Yep. Well, and that's John Goodman too, right?
Yeah. I didn't... That's my chalk. I thought it was David Spade.
So John Goodman was my 2, and David Spade was my 2, just because I was I don't want to do that, even though that's
I looked over to my wife. I'm like, nailed it. I'll write it in pen.
He's kind of I don't know. He gives off Jack McBrayer vibes to me.
Okay.
Heavy. I like where you come from, but
I could see that working though.
He's just kind of skinny and wily and just, I don't know. Jack McBrayer could be a goofy little skinny postman.
I say him a lot too, but I think this could be a Ryan Reynolds role. So I'm going to throw a wild card in here, but Daniel Tosh.
Wild role. That could work, but I've never even heard that name.
He had his animated show that didn't work, Brickleberry, but he could be kind of catty.
Well, he definitely could be catty. It's just, and I don't think his voice is distinct enough that where you have to, I don't know,
pay for Daniel Tosh.
Someone said Will Ferrell earlier for another role, but like someone like that could just play sort of out of character. Like this wouldn't really be a Will Ferrell role, but like if it was just his voice,
yeah, it would have been
somehow
fine.
It would.
I mean, Will Ferrell's done. So many people have done.
David Cross,
I like
maybe.
That.
Somewhere in the he's Mogan's.
Now I'm
he's
just thinking
Mogan's.
voices.
He's Mogan's.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is he? Yeah, he's Mogan.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
Let us know what you thought of our recasting this week, but we're going to move it on to Mount Rushmore.
Top four.
Mount Rushmore. Top 4.
Mount Rushmore, top 4. This week we're doing our favorite Santas. We're going to go Mark, Jordan, me this week. Mark, who's your favorite Santa Claus?
I want to throw a wrench in this. Cameron, I want you to go first. I feel like you always toss the ball to someone else, and I want you to have first. I want you to have first go at this.
This is going to be an interesting choice for me because I feel
and tell me, I wanted the first one. There's one that I want.
Okay, I'm going to get rid of my nostalgic one and save that for somebody else. I'm actually going to say, look-wise, Richard Attenborough from Miracle on 34th Street.
There is another one of the same movie, but that is, I think he plays the better.
It's a perfect Santa. It's not my favorite. It's boring, but as far as
it's not the best movie, but a depiction.
But as far as depictions, he's not my favorite Santa. I
wrote that movie off early. Do I need to give it another chance?
You might be able to like it more.
Either the original or the whatever Matilda one.
I think you'd be surprised how many versions of that movie is. I think there's 3, possibly 4. And you know what? They all stay the same. It's pretty straight adaptation. I know there's a
real quick. Does anybody off the top of their head have the original one? So it's Richard Attenborough. I think is the better pick here, but it's like Edmund Gwenn is the original Kris Kringle from the original Miracle on 34th Street.
Also, fine-looking Santa. Mark,
good-looking Santa.
I took your spot. You can take it over. What do you got for your number one?
That was a good number one. I'm going to go Scott Calvin. I'm going to go, that was Santa Claus, Tim Allen, Scott Calvin.
That's what I was toying with. As far as like a nostalgia Christmas movie that hit perfect as a kid, Santa Claus and Tim Allen, Santa Claus was hilarious. That might be my actual number one as far as favorite.
So you guys definitely took 2 of my stronger opinions.
He becomes Santa at the end. He looks whatever they do with the beard and the.
It was a good look.
Fat. It's a good look.
Do you want to hear a hot take from that movie? I absolutely love the way he looks as he enters the North Pole for the final run. But then they get his beard way too wispy and long. When it was a little fuller and tight, loved it. That actually pisses me off. I'm pretty sure if you go back and listen to our Santa Claus, I mentioned that a lot of times.
Almost how he looks like when he's at the doctor and the doctor.
Oh, perfect! You nailed it. You nailed it. Okay.
Ding.
So I'm gonna can't disagree with either of those, and I'm glad somebody said Miracle on 34th Street because
it's definitely on the list.
It's on there. It makes sense.
It's on the Mount Rushmore.
So I'm gonna say the number one Santa as depicted in media. It's Coca-Cola Santa.
That's not.
And then I'll give you a movie
but yeah,
version.
It is.
It is just number one, and I think they created it.
They did create it.
I don't hate the pick. I did not. That is stunning.
I kept thinking of it, and nobody nailed it more. I don't know if Norman Rockwell painted it, but it seems like he did, and they nailed Santa.
I'm going to let him go there. I'm not going to veto.
Okay.
I'm going to let him go
All right,
there.
thank you.
Do you have
I could have seen you guys getting at me.
Do you have an honorable mention movie choice you'd like to start off with?
Just because
Cameron
I want to
this.
throw...
No, I mean, it's Coke Works. It's not a movie. It's
That's
not
what
a movie.
Santa looks like. He's in commercial work, at least, if not. But
I've seen
any
I've seen his work with the
advertisement.
polar bears.
This is just not even close. So, just to show recognition to the movie, notable Santas. I'm gonna go with Christmas Story. Ho ho.
That's good Santa.
Ho. Not based off looks, but just notable. But I wanted to.
There's going to be a lot of goofy ones and
Coca-Cola
honorable mentions. Excuse me.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of mine are like unhonorable mentions.
Yeah, mine are more like mall Santas after this. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
Speaking of mall
I'll
Santas,
say
I just did the mall Santa today.
Oh.
You just go into the old Lindale Mall, make it 20 minutes in and out.
Did you have to take your kid kicking out or leaving kicking and screaming, or we had a good time?
No, it was good. He was good. He didn't like love it, but he didn't freak out.
Yeah, that's all you can
You know,
hope
he's
for.
sitting with a stranger.
Easter Bunny's a little scarier.
Yeah.
That's a giant rabbit.
We haven't done an Easter Bunny yet.
Giant hair.
Just for a classic one, I do have to throw out Mickey Rooney, Santa Claus Coming to Town. Just voice work. Maybe not my favorite voice work, but
That's the Rudolph with it's the stop motion.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that deserves the fourth spot.
If we were gonna do Santa origin stories, I was gonna take that one because
Yeah, that's the one I
like.
liked the most, or saw the most.
Just to throw a shout out to it because I do love the movie so much, and it's their unique take on it. Arthur Christmas, their Santa, and the depiction of the family.
Bill Nighy, the original Santa.
Is he, as we know, a Kris Kringle, or is he like isn't he like a Archibald
he's like
Claus or something? He's
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
brother.
they're
or
like a
something? That
Claus
still counts,
family,
though.
so it's not
same
it's not
as
the
Scott
real
Collins.
origin. Yeah.
We talked.
So they're not the origin of Santa. It's just they're this version of Santa.
We talked about Elf. That's Ed Asner playing Santa Claus in that one at the end. Now,
I think he looks good.
Ed Asner works in there for you. One that you wouldn't think, but Paul Giamatti and Fred Claus played Santa.
What a fucking
Don't
shit
love it
movie.
one bit. Just awful. The weirdest part of that is the elves in there.
Oh, the elves,
Hard miss.
because they're real life. They're right, but they just like size them down.
Well, I think they superimpose faces onto little people.
I believe that's
and it
right.
looks like it's just a hard miss.
We also have Tom Hanks' Polar Express. That movie did get panned, but it's not a terrible Santa Claus. It's just the eyes are dead and some of the animation wasn't.
I don't like the expansion of any short into most of the time any short book into a feature length movie. It's just you got to add too much. But aesthetically, I think that one just missed the mark by about 10 years. Maybe it could have looked better.
I would agree.
It was
on that,
just
maybe.
too
They
early
almost
on in
could
the
do it
technology.
again. I know they have the one, but like a Leica.
Try it again.
Give it 5 more
try it
years
again.
and they will. 5
Yeah, they
to
will.
10. Yeah, we'll get there.
Some mall Santas that I want to mention, like the one in Home Alone where he's like, "All right, make it quick." He gives him Tic
That's a
Tacs.
good
Make
one.
it quick, kid. I gotta.
Yeah, that guy's good.
Him and in Jingle All the Way, the sort of the crooked Santa.
Jim Belushi.
Is that Jim Belushi?
He's in
Jim
that
Belushi.
scene. I feel like we should
Definitely
mention
featured in the I don't
Billy
know.
Bob Thornton, Bad Santa. We
Yep.
did talk about
Bad
it. That
Santa,
gets in
sure.
there. Oh, David Harbour, Violent Night, more recent depiction of Santa. It was
Yep.
fine. It was good. He did good.
I have not watched it yet, but it is on my radar.
Do it.
Is
It's
that
fine.
a Netflix?
Jack Skellington.
I don't know if that's Netflix.
Jack Skellington.
What-
Interesting.
Jack
I don't know.
Skellington's
Yeah.
depiction of
A
Santa.
few that I'm less familiar with. Lloyd Bridges in The Nick of Time, but I'm sure he'd make he's kind of thin.
Isn't it crazy that out of all these movies, like Santa is such a small portion
And yeah, it's
of like
usually
so
a
many
cameo at
Christmas
the end.
movies?
It's
I'm gonna
almost
put
like
out
less
actually
is more, though, right? With
Yeah.
with like a horror
you don't wanna
movie,
go
you
over
almost
it.
want to see less of Chris.
Yeah, don't look at the man behind the curtain.
Listen, I would not think that if you told me cast somebody as Santa, I would not think Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
But that origin story or whatever the hell, what's that movie called?
Christmas Chronicles.
I like that they just let him go full Russell. Like fuck what you know about Santa, go full Russell.
So you like the Christmas Chronicles?
Oh, I do, yeah. And not at like I don't know if he gives me the Christmas feels, but I like Kurt Russell being weird Santa.
I like him. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about Christmas Chronicles.
I feel like he's like ho, like his ho ho if he does it. I like it.
I'm surprised we
caught
had
me
this
off guard.
many on our list because you know what I like in my Santa in movies is just maybe like the sound on the roof and
Yeah.
then maybe just a pair of boots scampering across the lawn or something.
Mark doesn't want
To your point,
not
less
be
is
I don't
seen
want
or
to see my
heard.
Santa.
He's got to be the whisper of a dead wife, just that magic.
Just the wind.
You know, it's a sneaky important Santa, and I think about this when I think of movie Santas. It's the opening credits to Christmas Vacation. That guy gets some screen time, albeit animated.
If I said the animated part,
Yeah, that Santa's like big time in Christmas movies. I think about him.
John Goodman, The Year Without Santa Claus. Not familiar with that, but I did recast him, so he has done it.
Those are some good lists. Some good picks though.
Yeah, there's this list actually goes on further than you think. So let us know some of your favorite movies or your favorite Santas in movie or advertisements. Thanks for listening to our take on Klaus. If you like what you heard, make sure you like and subscribe on your favorite podcast app, rate and review. If you want more content, check out the entire Majestic Jam Network, Urban Hermit, I'm Not Crazy, and the Highwire podcast. Until then, we'll check you on the next one.